Hello everyone and welcome back to I Love editorx. Today we will build something exciting. No code needed, and actually it's super easy to do. So this will be the portfolio timeline. It can be actually of any kind, but I choose portfolio because it demonstrates it very well. So anyway, it looks like there is a line that's scroll with us and passing some content in the page, and when it gets to the end it's just stop and you can keep scrolling. All right, and it's a good way to represent timeline as a like a resume timeline. All right, and you can also see that in mobile it's look a bit different, that the track is on the left side and it's still looking and working amazing. All right, this is actually super easy to do, and this is the editor and we will build it from scratch. I won't do everything in terms of design, but we will pass every step. So this is the step we need to do. The first step is to create the timeline track. All right, so this is the material we're going to use. I already built it, but I show you how to build them. So this is the track. If we can look in the layers panel, basically it's a container. And inside this container, this is the container, the main container. I called it timeline track. Inside the timeline track, I have the timeline line. Okay, and inside there is an image just because I wanted to achieve this gradient. So I put an image, but you can use solid color. So if I won't display it, so you can see here I have a solid color for the container. Right, so this is the track. We have the timeline point. Basically it's this point, okay, that follow the track, and there is the title, which is basically stack element with text inside, and we have the card with the information, these ones. All right, and the idea I pre-created because I was making sure that these elements looks as the way I want it across all breakpoints. You can see in the live example, you can see that this font size, all of the text actually font size are different in mobile. They are much smaller. So because this card is I use it on all my example, so I prepare it in advance so I would not need to create it on the video, and it's taking time. So let's start with the create timeline track. All right, so basically if let's create here, I actually I don't need this one, and this is the design I already created. I will delete it, and we're left with the hero section. Okay, so let's create another section right here, and here we will create the track. Okay, so I need a container, and I need another container inside this container. Right, I will give it some color. This is the color I want, and it will be let's place it top left. It will be 100% width, and the height will be we will do the height later, but right now let's keep it this way. And now I will go to the main container. First of all, I need to give a good naming, so I will understand what this element stands for. Alright, so this will be the timeline track. Alright, and this colored container will be the timeline. How did I call it? I forgot. Timeline line. Alright, so timeline line. Great. And now to achieve this gradient, I simply I can go here to, I can go right here to the media and select this image, drag it right here. I will stretch it and that's it. Alright, so let's go back to the live example. So basically you can see that here, this line, the color line, is always stop in the middle of the screen. Okay, so if we think about measure units, it's actually 50% of the height of the screen. So we cannot use 50% because this line, the track line, as you can see, is very long. It's like it's long as the content inside a section, and this track line is, its height needs to be related to the screen and not to its parent, the track line. So the height of this container, the line container, should be 50% of the screen height. So I can change the units here from pixels to viewport height. All right, and I will set it to be 50. Okay, for this example I use 50, but you can use any viewport height that you want. If, for example, you set it to be 30, it will be something here. 80, it will be something like here. All right, so we set this container timeline line to be 50% from the viewport height. All right, this is the first step. So what is the width of this timeline track? So in my example I set it to be, if I remember correctly, 5 pixels. All right, so it's something like this. So let's align it to our section. It should be in the middle, so middle and top. And the parent container of the line, the track, it should be always 100% of its own section, right? So let's set the mean height to be 100%. You can also set the height, it doesn't matter, right? And now you can see that actually right now the track is bigger than the line, right? So you can still see something. So in terms of design, I add some, as you can see here, a background color, shadow, corners. So instead of doing it all over again, I will just copy the design from all breakpoints and put it inside this track. And now we get the shadow, as you can see. All right, so this is the first step. Actually, I think it should be bigger, 6 pixels. Let's see. Yeah, 6 pixels. So 6 pixels. All right, this is the first step, is creating the timeline track. The second step I need to do is to, let's make this section bigger. Let's set it just for now to be 200 of the viewport height. All right, so it's long, so we have some scroll. The second thing we need to do is to make this track line sticky. So let's change the position type. sorry, I choose the image. I need to choose its parent. Okay, so I need to set it to be, if you remember, the height is 50% of the viewport height, and the position type will be sticky. And now if we preview it, you can see as I scroll down, it's scroll down with me. All right. So this is the first step. The second step I need to do is to, I don't want it to start from here. I want to start it from 0. So I can give the timeline container minus margin of its own height, 50 VH. So minus 50 VH. Right, so it starts right here. Right? So if I don't want to see this line, I need to make this section above this, the section below it. Right, so I can go orange, bring to front, and now I don't see the line. So let's see the result right now. Actually, the solution I just did with a reordering the section order, it's not good for accessibility. We will solve it later in a different way, but right now it gives us the right solution. So as you can see, as I start to scroll down, I can start see the line. All right. So basically, this is the main idea of this tutorial. The following thing that we will do is just an extra, but the concept is this one. All right. So the second thing we need to do, we need some points, right? So I know that I will have inside this section a few rows of data. So if we'll go to the live site, as you can see, this row of data that related to this year, it starts from here and its end right here. So in all this scrolling area, this point is scrolled down with me until it reaches to the end, and then the line is continuous scrolling and it starts to go to this second section of content. It's not a section, but it's rows of this section. So if we will inspect it, you can see that I have, this is the first row, this is the second row, and else. So I need grid in this section. So just for the beginning, I will add 3 rows of grid rows for this section. So what that I'm going to show you now, it's very, very important. You need to wrap each row with container, each row content with a container, right? So first of all, I will drag a new container inside the first row. As you can see here, it's located in the first row. I will set it to be, actually I can stretch it. So I will stretch it. Actually this is gradient that you see here. It's related to this section container. It has some shadow, right? If I change it to this color, so it's changed, right? So we put container in the first row, and now I will apply grid to it. Okay, grid of what I'm doing here is just because it's suitable for my design. You can actually do anything you want. So I will create 2 rows. The first row is for, I will show it right here. The first row is for this information. The second row is for this card, right? So let's sorry, my mistake, I need 3. The first row is for this stack element, the second one is for the point, and the third one is for the card. All right, so let's add another one. So let's change it to 3 columns. All right, so let's copy this stack element. This will be the title and year and company. Let's copy it and let's paste it right here, and it should live on the first row. Let's dock it to the right side and to the top. All right, I can add some padding right here. Let's do something like 50 pixels, and I know this unit I already calculated before, so it's the right and left padding. It should be 5.2%, and also from the right side. All right, so now I need a point. Let's copy it. I will put it on the middle one, and again dock it to the top and to the center. The third thing that I need is my content container. I will put it right here on the third row. Let's align it to the left and to the top. So as you can see, the center point of my grid is this point. So this card is aligned to the left, to the point, and this stack element is aligned to the right, to the direction of this point. So let's set it to be 100%. Great. And this card actually, I don't need a min height for it. The content is demonstrate the height, is set the height, and I have here the width will be 100%, but the max width will be 468 pixels. So if I go to a bigger screen size, so you can see it stopped growing. I don't remember if this is the right units. No, it should be 530 pixels. All right, so you see this gap. If I start to shrink the screen size, it will shrink until you reach to the end, and now it starts to get responsive. All right, this is like, I decided this because this is kind of my site language, design language. Anyway, this gap is too much for me. First of all, I want to, you can see this track line. I want to get some distance right here, right? So the first thing I want to do, actually this I forgot to mention, this point I used decorative element. I choose an SVG, and I set its width and height in fixed unit. This is important. You can do it with percentage, but it's more risky. And I add a border to it, something like 4 pixels, I don't remember what exactly, and some shadow. All right, so if I just, so this is the idea, I don't need to redo it. So the middle column, the width of it, I want it to be exactly as the width of this shape, as this point. So I can change it to be max content, but as you can see, it's too close. So I can choose the grid settings and set some gaps. So let's set 50 pixels gap. So now I have some room, right, between the columns. So let's see if it should be more, I think. So let's set it to be 80. This looks more right. The last thing I need to do, I need to remove the minimum height of the row. I don't need it. So let's change it to be auto. And because it's stretched to the section grid. So let's set this section. And as you can see right here, I have minimum of 33%, which is 33% of the viewport height we said before. So I can simply change it to be auto, and I will change everything to be auto, and let's remove the minimum height. All right, so now it's looks something like this. Actually, it's not good for me. I want it to have some scroll. So let's remove, first of all, let's remove, you know what, let's change the row, this one, to be max content. All right. So now this content that wrap all my track, sorry, not my track, my this area of content I want to display for this here is inside inside in the first row. And the last thing I want to do is to remove the background color, so now I can see the track behind of it, and to set this point to be sticky. It's already sticky because I copy it from here, and here is sticky, and also the track is sticky because we set it to be. All right, so this point, oh, so this is important too. So I set it to be sticky, and also the top offset of it, it's also 50% of the viewport height, same as my track line. All right, so let's see the result. So as you can see, as we start to scroll down, the point is scrolled down with us. Actually, this stack element is also pinned because, again, I copy it from here and it's already have this setting. So let's see what happened if I change the sticky value. So here I set it to be 50 to 50. So if we'll set it to be, let's say, 60. All right, so now you can see the difference. So as we start to scroll, now we get some gap here, okay, because this is actually this track is 50% of the viewport height, and this one is 60% of the viewport height, the sticky settings. All right, so let's bring it back to be 50. And this is important. Look when this point stop when we scroll. If you remember the rule of sticky, every element that is sticky, it stays sticky as long as it's still in its own parent. If it's reached to the bottom, it stop to get sticky. So let's preview it again. And you can see that when I scroll down, the points stop right here because this is the boundaries of this container. But the track keeps scrolling because it's not child of this container, it's child of the section. All right. So all we need to do is to, because I'm going to duplicate this one, I want to make sure it looks good on the different viewports. So I will skip tablet. Let's jump right to mobile. And as you can see here, it's not looking good enough. So let's start from low to high. So the low one is our main container that wrap all the content. So let's set the padding to be 20 pixels from left, 20 pixels from right, and you can see here the gaps between the rows. Actually, we don't need 3 columns in this container. We need, if we see the mobile design, we need actually 2, one for the point, 1 column for the point, and 1 column for all the rest of the content. So if we will inspect it, you will see it better. You see I have here 1 row for the point and the second row is for the content. So let's go here and we can change the grid. So let's change it to be 2 columns and 1 row. All right, so let's just make everything looks okay. So this title should leave, oh sorry, you know what, it's okay. It should leave on the second column. It should be 100% width, and it should be docked to the left side. And this container I want to set in different row. Okay, so I need to add another row to this main container. So let's add another one, and I will choose this card container and place it in the second column. And again, it should be 100% width and docking to the left. All right, still it looks off, right? So first of all, let's select our point and set it to live only on the first column, and let's dock it to the right, to the left. Now this row is too big, right? So I can simply set it again, as we said it before, to be max content. Now we have more space, and we can reduce this gap between the rows. Let's set something like 40 pixels, maybe 30. All right, so now I have this column that looks too big, so let's set it to be max content. And this one, actually I can set it to be auto, and the second one also auto, but it's still too high. So let's think why. Let's think why it's too big. Because of this text element has margin from bottom. So let's remove it. But we still need some gaps here, so we can make something like 30 pixels or 20. I think it's okay. So our content is placed as we want, but the track is still in the middle. So let's select it and let's just dock it to the left side. But you can see it should be like in the middle of this point. So let's set the margin to be 20 pixels, something like this. But still the dot is not exactly as where we want it to be. So let's put it, let's select it and set something like -6 pixels. Not good enough. -8 pixels. Now it's centered. All right. So let's preview the mobile and see if it looks good. Okay, so as we start scroll down, the track is scroll down with us, and the point is also scroll down with us. But as you can see, the title is also sticky, so we need to remove it. We don't need it in mobile, so let's change it to be static default. Let's preview it, and now it's work as we want it to work. Amazing. So all we need to do right now, after we set everything as we need, all we need to do is to duplicate this container and everything will work exactly as it should. All right, so let's do it. This is the content container. It's like, I will change it to be period container. All right, so this is the first one. I can duplicate it. I will stretch it and it should place on the second column. All right, so let's do it again. I will duplicate it again, stretch it, and place it on the third column. Great. I want to make sure that my section rows are good. So now I can remove the minimum height. I don't need it. It should be none. And I want to add some gaps between these cards. So I can go to the section rows and add some gaps, let's say 50 pixels, maybe 80. All right, so let's preview it. So this is the first card. Everything is working good. The point is stop right here. The track line is continue. Dock it to the second point, stop, and the third point. Amazing. And if we will go to mobile, so it's working amazing, but the gaps here, because we set it to be 80 pixels, now we can remove it from here, or maybe add like 20 pixels. So now it's look better. All right, the most of our job is done. So of course, if you can see in my example that I have more than one card in a row. So here, for example, I have two. Here I have two with different style. So actually inside this container, if you have like a few cards of information you want to display, you can do actually whatever you want. So just to show you the example, I can add here another row and I can duplicate this card. Let's put it in the second column and it should be docked to the top and to the left. And I can add some gaps between them. All right, let's set it to be 50. And for example, I want to add image to it. So let's go to media. I can drag, I don't know, let's drag an image inside the stack element. Right here, for example, I set it to be 100%. Dock it to the left. And set the height to be 350 pixels. And let's add some rounded corner, 10 pixels. And I don't want the height to be in pixels, so let's set it to be responsive. And I will add some margin from top, 20 pixels, 30 pixels. So now you can see the first line will stay longer because I have more than one card inside this content container, period container, right? And then everything is still working exactly the way I want it to work. Cool, right? All right, so let's see the steps we did. First step, we create the timeline track. This one with the height of 50 viewport height, and the minus margin of 50 viewport height, and the sticky of 50 viewport height. You see that every unit I use is the same across the whole elements that need to scroll down as I scroll down the page. So this is the first one. The second one, add timeline points. This is the points we add, and they live inside, not inside the section, not the child of the section, but the child of its own parent, the period parent container. Why? Because we need it to stop here at the bottom of this container. The third things we did, we add a content card, which is this one. This is actually, you can do whatever design you want to do and make it responsive. We did it. And now the final thing we need to do is make it accessible. So when I said make it accessible, what do I mean? Okay, so let's think about it. I want to show you in the live site. So it's related to the tutorial I created about DOM order. Okay, so if we will check the DOM order of this site right now, I will go section by section. All right. So as you can see, this is the hero section, right? And this is the structure of my site. So you can see the hero section, because it's the first when we launch the site, it should be the first, but right now it's not the case. So I select it and let's see where it's located. So this is the first one. Okay, it's not good. I can ignore it because it's not part of the flow of the site. But anyway, so the first one, as you can see, is this content. The second one is the hero one, which actually it should be the opposite way. So if I drag the hero to be the first one, so suddenly you can see the track line, okay? Because previously when it was like that, like this, it's hide behind the background color of this section. So to solve it, there is a super the DOM order must be the way the user experience it. Okay, so this should be the first and this should be the last, the second one. But because we need to keep the DOM order as the way it should be, we cannot do the solution we did in the site where we change the order, so this section will be on top of this section. So the simple is very easy, is very simple to do, is to change the Z index of the first section. Instead of to be static, it should be, I will show you, Z index 1. So this is design property, CSS property. As you can see, the first section is still the first and the second one is still the second. But unfortunately, we cannot control the Z index in the site. So what we need to do is to add some custom code. Super simple. So as you can see, the section has unique ID. See comp something, so you need to copy it. Don't worry, I will show you. I will share with you the code, but the component ID, the section ID, you need to find it by yourself. So you inspect the site and you search in. When you click inspect, it's actually inspect the element you are hovering on. So if I inspect the portfolio, you can see that it inspects this text element. So inspect the blank area around the section and go up until you see HTML tag called section, as you can see right here. and copy this ID. Your ID will be different than mine, and you need to go to the site dashboard. So how to do it? Simply go here to site and go to dashboard and scroll down to settings and custom code. Right? Actually, I forgot to mention, custom code you can do only if you have premium account and your premium account to the site you are working on and connected domain. So what do we need to do is to add custom code. All right, so it goes something like this: style opening, style closing, and in the middle is the style we want to change. So it goes, IDs go like this. So now I paste the section ID and open and closing curly brackets, and here I set index equals 1. All right, that's it, and I give it a proper name. Fix hero z index, and it will be CSS custom code. And where I want to load, which page should I use it on? It should be a specific page. In my site it's called timeline, copy of timeline, and it should be on the body start. Let's apply it, and you can see it right here, CSS fix hero z index. So let's go to our site and refresh it. Sorry, no, I needed to do it on the original one, on the timeline, this one. So let's refresh it. Oh, and I need to go back. This is the original example I created. I need to arrange, set it. Why? This is the container. This is the section. Arrange, send it to back. And this one I don't need, I can delete. And in the editor, you can see the track line covered my hero section, but on the live site, it should be okay. So this is the timeline one. So let's refresh it. And as you can see, it looks okay. So let's inspect it just to make sure it gets our custom z-index property. And you can see right here, z-index equal 1. This is exactly what we add. And we get this beautiful effect. This is our effect. Same principle. All right, and it's working on mobile, and it looks stunning. All right, so that's it. Super easy, right? So go crazy, go creative, and build something amazing with it. You can actually, I wanted to show you, you can actually create like a different layout. You can, for example, here you can decide that you want it to live on the on the left column, and the stack element will live here, like to create a different alignment between the different sections. So let's change it, and this will be dock to the left, to the right. And then you get like more interesting layout. So actually you can do you can really do really creative stuff with it. So, well, I'm working on it. Maybe it should be here. Yeah, sorry. So as you can see, the first one, the cards on the right side, and the left one is the cards on the, sorry, yeah, the opposite way. On the right side, and here on the left side, and then you can, I forgot to move this card here, but anyway. So, yeah, go be creative, and please, if you do something nice, share it in the comments, and till next time, keep building amazing sites on editorx.